Bumper to Bumper is the name of the show if you're new to town. We are on every weekday afternoon between 3 and 6:30 on a station ostensibly, well, it is called The Fan. It is KFAN, KFXN, I think, legally, in a sense. And I guess if you're, if you're just in town and you're going, oh, listen to a sports station, you might be confused right now. You might go, well, I don't understand. He's talking about allegations against the mayor of St. Paul. He's got an attorney in there. I didn't hear anything except at the very beginning about sports. Well, that's because we kind of dabble in other things from time to time. And as we get closer to football season, as we're now getting, you'll hear a lot of football conversation. I promise you. We'll be at the Perch. Our first visit will be Monday. Is that correct?
Correct.
This coming Monday.
Yes.
Expect a visit with KOC.
We do.
On Monday, as is tradition. It goes all the way back to, did we have that with Chili, or did that start with
Frazier?
Frazier and Zim.
We may have had it with Chili because it was Chili's idea to have the Perch in the first place.
That's right. That's
Years
a good
ago
memory. Yeah.
At training camp, we used to be across the street in Mankato by where the players would park their bikes and go into the training room. And it was Chili, according to legend, that said, let's bring the fan guys in. Let's give them a spot inside the ropes and they can watch practice. And that's what we did. Yeah. So it may have been Chili on day one. I don't know.
Chili, yeah.
But the Perch goes back to the Childress era.
And we'll have coming up, maybe we do it. You want to do it at 5:30? The inbox?
We
what
can.
Are you thinking?
Yeah, let's.
Dr. Dan's inbox.
We've got some. We can always use more.
JG@KFAN.com if you'd like to pen your own letter, your own bit of snark or satire. That's generally the bit for Dr. Dan's inbox. It's, again, for the record, if you're new to the station and maybe even new to town, they're not real letters. In other words, the people writing pretend to be writing on behalf of a famous athlete, a coach, maybe a pop music star, maybe a politician, whatever the case may be. And we have fun with that. We try to, and that's sort of, that's sort of part of the bit. I can't even begin to, do we want to let's hold off on the Twins a little bit. Other than, again, has to be their best victory of the season, given you're down to your last at bat.
Right.
You're down 3-0. You have the bases loaded. And I think Cody Clemens is a pinch hitter, isn't he? I don't think he was in the lineup, but we'll double check that. Regardless, he hits to a line drive shot to right center into the first row of seats right above the flower pots.
He was in the lineup today.
He was in the lineup.
And that was his only hit of the afternoon. 1 for 4.
It's a walk-off grand slam. How many walk-off grand slams do we have in Minnesota Twins history?
Man, I'd have to think about it.
I'm sure somebody is doing the research on that, or maybe A. Gleeman already has. I don't know.
Right.
But
when it comes on the heels of R. Lewis with the walk-off triple.
That's a good point.
On Friday.
Yeah, 2-run triple that also gave us the victory.
With 2 outs.
You're right. Yeah.
With 2 outs, just electrifying the dozens in attendance at Target Field.
Wow. Well, did you see the controversy that broke out between Dan Minnesota and somebody from the Fox 9 news team?
Oh, no, I didn't.
It was classic. In fact, we might as well go to 27 at this point, I guess, since we came back so late. So, in this case, I kind of understand both their positions. Dan Minnesota has one could say hypersensitivity to anything that seems to allow to let Twins management off the hook.
That's true. Yep.
So this was the game. This was the Lewis game. They'd hit into 5 double plays before he hit the 2-run triple to win it, right? When they're down a run and they get 2 runs, they win it in the 9th. And there was a tweet, maybe with video, I don't know, but there was a tweet from Fox 9, might have been Fox 9 News, Fox 9 Sports. I don't remember what site what Twitter handle it was. Basically saying this would have been, if you're trying to convince management to go all in or to be ambitious in making moves, they were on the verge of the kind of loss that was going to take away that impetus given the 5 double plays. Well, Dan Minnesota took offense and basically said, are you kidding me? So you're really saying that the onus in any single game or because the team in a given night had 5 double plays and didn't really play even to their own capabilities, that it's more on them than it is to Twins management to actually give them benefit of the doubt? Or you can make the argument to put them in a position with better players where maybe they're less likely to hit into 5 double plays or maybe pitch better, whatever the case may be. So whoever was responding for Fox 9 kept it low-key and professional, tried to stay the course to kind of keep Dan Minnesota from losing his mind. But it's all connected, you could say, to a certain extent to today, because if you want to play that game, which I think is a little dangerous to play, to hold players so much more accountable in a season in which they have absolutely overachieved on the basis of who they have, the payroll, and the injuries they've dealt with, to at any point, even on the basis of a single game, to make it that easy for management to say, well, we don't have to worry about doing anything. Did you see we're hitting the 5 double plays? I mean, what are we supposed to do to help them? I think in general it is more on management, but now especially. You've had 2 walk-off games against a not very good team, right? But nevertheless, you want them.
You got it.
And it's becoming clearer all the time. Now, already the GM has said we're going to look for relievers, but we don't exactly know how he defines how aggressive we're going to be. But it is another one of those games where you back yourself into a corner where you really can't, I don't think, with a straight face, say, well, we can't count on him. That was a nice play, but what does it really say about us? The more you win at this point, and the more you win in dramatic fashion from a public relations standpoint, you do kind of, I think, take away even more of the option of, we're not really that good. We're just going to, we'll make a couple of modest moves, but that's it. Because let's face it, for even casual fans who haven't been going, this is the kind of game that gets people's attention, right? I mean, Grand Slam in the ninth, down 3-0.
Unbelievable.
Is as dramatic as you can get, for God's sake. So it all kind of fits together, and we'll see what the Twins do with that. I mean, we talked yesterday about Joe Ryan, and I heard Lava was on the day we were both Tuesday, when Sinekin filled in. And it's amusing to listen to the ball guys because this was what he suggested, what he broached was an idea that if a non-ball guy had said it at any point the last 3 or 4 years on any number of pitchers, he'd have said, well, you're not being realistic. You got to be practical here. You can't spend the kind of money that it's going to take to keep that pitcher. You're living in a fantasy world. You know how much the Dodgers spend? That's what we've been lectured on over and over by the ball guys. You know what this ball guy said 2 days ago? Not only should you not trade him, what if you announce at the trade deadline you've extended his deal?
Right.
That shouldn't be that radical. But I'm just here to tell you, ball guys would have mocked and ridiculed any of us saying it. Because they then would have said, you really want to spend that kind of money? Well, given your margin for error, you're really putting yourself in a difficult position. That's just not going to work. Now, suddenly it's, why not keep Joe Ryan, who, by the way, is struggling a little bit and is kind of mysterious talking about it. Like he knows something's up.
Right.
But they skipped the start with him, right? And then he still didn't pitch very well last night because of alleged fatigue in the arm. I hope it's not anything more serious than that. But in any case, when is the deadline? Is it Monday, you told me?
It's a week. Yeah, it's Monday, August 3rd. We will be at Vikings training camp. You know what's even more amazing about the Grand Slam?
What's that?
Is the Twins had nobody on base until there were 2 outs.
Oh, even the first base runner was after 2 outs.
When I popped in here, they were in the 9th, and there were 2 outs, and there was nobody on. And then I kind of looked up again, and the bases were loaded, and that was when Chris Maddle and you were talking about it. Yeah, Larnach struck out. Caratini lined out. So you're down to your last out with nobody on base. And Jeffers gets hit by a pitch. Royce Lewis gets on. He singles. And then Bell walked. And the rest is history.
Rest is history.
So they had nothing going until there were 2 outs.
A couple people, researchers, amateur researchers, are telling us that this was the 6th walk-off Grand Slam in Twins history. And the last was your guy, DJ Dozier. in 2018.
I feel like Kubel did it one time.
Coos? He might have.
I thought he did.
By the way, we're also reminded it was an 0-2 count on Clemens. Is that confirmed?
Let me pull up the even. Yeah, took a strike, hit a foul ball, and then the third pitch, 82-mile-an-hour slider. He was sitting on it. He was waiting for it. Mashed to right center field.
Dan Minnesota, if you ever want me to come on to defend myself, I'm certainly willing. I wasn't really ripping him. I understood the sentiment. I love you know me, I love Minnesota's passion. I can't get enough of it. And in this case, I was not, I think, Dan, you can tell I was not ripping you. I get the point, and it's just, it feels what Fox 9 guy did is done all the time. The old, this would have been, if you're trying to get the attention of management to go out and do stuff, that would have been bad to lose on 5 double plays, right? And so there's nothing wrong with the statement. It's inherently accurate, but it's a bit tone deaf, I think, in this town. Because to ever give management at this point the benefit of the doubt becomes a little bit concerning, a little bit controversial. Can Garzi confirm or deny the Norwegian row chant / cheers being hijacked by PJ and will be part of game days this football season? I thought the Vikings were going to steal it.
They might too.
Everybody's going to. It's going to be overkill.
It could be. It could be. Well, he was asked about it. What day would that have been? Yesterday.
Yesterday.
He basically said, "Stay tuned." And then today, the Gopher football program, including PJ Fleck, in a video, put out some type of statement or video where he's banging a drum twice, which would indicate that they are bringing the row, that they are going to try it. They are going to try and execute something and steal it.
A couple people are saying Cougs did have a grand slam against the Yankees, but they believe it was at Yankee Stadium, so it can't be a walk-off.
Okay.
But it can be.
That might be what I'm thinking.
Maybe that's what you were thinking.
And did they win that game, or did we get walked off after? Because I have a vivid mememory of, I remember the Kubel grand slam. I just can't remember what happened after that.
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I'm absolutely not sure. Kubel hit it off of Mario.
Did he really?
People are saying. That's what people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the era, for sure.
Off Rivera. It was a couple people are saying that was extra innings. I do not. You have a better recollection of that than I do.
It was late at night, yeah. I just remember, but for some reason I feel like we lost the game.
Well,
maybe just because I have Yankees trauma. I'm just assuming because they lost so many. After the trade deadline, attendance will go up if fans like what happened over the weekend. Yeah, potentially. You could start seeing some of that, yes. I mean, these are the kinds of games that even if you're hardcore, you go, that's kind of fun. I don't know, maybe. But here's the tricky part. You know, there often are not any miracle moves to make at the deadline, even if you want to be ambitious. And the dirty little secret, especially as it pertains to relievers, is baseball's a funny game, man. A guy can be a great reliever before he's traded, and then he goes to a new place, and he's awful for a month and a half. It can go the other way, too. Now, that doesn't mean you don't try. You have to try. And then you're back to what level of relief pitcher are you getting from an odds standpoint? Because, again, there's no guarantee with any of them, even the best ones that you might acquire. But you want to give I think, yourself the best chance on the basis of pedigree that it's going to pay off, right? That's what you're looking for. Yes.
Rather than the classic journeyman relief pitcher who sometimes can come in and be great.
Yeah.
Now, was it 2 years ago? Who was the guy we brought in? And, I mean, he lasted like 4 minutes. He was awful. Wasn't that 2 years ago?
That sounds right.
Last year we decimated the bullpen.
Right, we traded everybody.
Yeah, the year before we added one relief pitcher, a reliever who I think was gone within like 3 weeks and was not.
Well, that does remain the greatest irony of this whole thing. I don't even know if irony is the right word. The disappointment of the whole thing is as they're trying to, just think if they cut off the fire sale at like half of what they did last year.
Yeah.
Not even keep all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's just say they kept 3 of them.
I think that's what we were saying even then.
Yeah.
That we get it. Sometimes you're going to make moves for a reason, or you don't like the contract, or you don't think you're going to be able to re-sign them. But yeah, stop at half and then get back to me. And it just kept going to such a degree that even all over baseball, people were commenting on it.
They were running out. Here. People weren't believing all the deals that were being done.
Yeah.
Who was it? Wasn't it I think it was Jason Stark, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That basically
quoted
said
him heavily. Yeah.
In my 52 years of covering baseball, I've never seen anything like this. Yeah. That's a big knocker to make that kind of comment. And now you reap what you sow. That's why they're in this situation, which is too bad.
There's always one Danny Downer, isn't there? If you take out the ninth, in the first and last game, we scored 1 run in 25 innings. Yeah, let's get overly excited.
Well, how many innings do they play?
And they call me negative.
How many innings do they play?
9 or more.
They all count.
That's more negative than I'm capable of being. Man. We'll probably do it bottom of the hour, but the WNBA, man.
I know.
It's borderline comical. We got 2 new crises, right? And by the way, neither of them, here's the shocking part, neither of them have anything to do with Caitlin Clark.
That's the point. None of these can be blamed on Caitlin.
No, we don't think.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
She's coming in Sunday, right?
Sunday. It's a nooner.
So, because my daughter is very enterprising, she, out of curiosity, we can't go because she's got something she's got to do, and it's a day game, unfortunately. But she just out of curiosity, Dad, I'm going to look to see what the tickets were that we've had for the last few Wolves playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good seats, not going to deny that. But they were, I think they might be gone by now, but same general area for the Clark game, $400 a pop.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think the cheapest right now is over 100.
And I'm not going to take away the fact that the Lynx are the best story in the WNBA on their own right now, right? No question. But I'll ask again, do we really think it's going to be $400 for a pop? $800 for 2 in that location? If it ain't Caitlin Clark coming to town? Just saying.
You know the answer.
Be careful biting. Does anybody ever say, do we really need to bite the hand that feeds us? I don't know. I know we got to make sure she understands she's got to, if she wants to be in the sisterhood.
Sisterhood, exactly.
There's a few other things see, to me, that in itself, given how important the finances have been, according to what we've heard, you'd say, well, that's a form of getting that that's elevating the entire sisterhood.
That's you think it's? I mean, I think they like the charters and the nice hotels.
They're not turning it down. The Lynx are not going to turn down $800 for those 2 seats. They're not. They're not going to go in good conscience. We can't do that. We're going to actually bring the price down to a more reasonable price. I mean, that would show me something. But I haven't seen that happen in any WNBA arena where people are still squawking.
Speaking of money, the fan and bigdeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. The 4 o'clock keyword is rich. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword rich.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on
Well, things are getting juicy on the WNBA front, and in this case, I don't think either of these stories are connected to Caitlin Clark. But before we get to that, did you see the shots fired quote from my guy Signetti, I think today?
Yes.
Was Indiana Day today?
Yes.
You seen the quote?
The whining walk-off? Yes, I've seen it.
The Big Ten is the best league in football. We don't run a hype machine up here in the Midwest. We believe everything's earned, not given. And when we fall short, we say we fell short. We don't cry a river. We whine and complain. And that's why we're the best. Now,
up high, down hard.
Do we know, have the big shots who cover college football speculated on a specific target there? I know. I assume it's SEC as a conference.
Yes.
But is it a specific program, coach?
Not really, because it's all of them in the SEC. It's all of them.
Yeah.
And Bielema.
Well, he can say it. I mean, that's the thing. The beauty of his position is now he's done enough where he can say it. And let's be fair. When they fell short in a couple key games the year before, he did say so. I mean, when they came back the next year, he said, well, we didn't do it. I mean, we didn't do what we needed to do. Now, I'm not sure how far he went, but I do remember a couple comments like that. But go ahead.
So I think it's not only the SEC, the commissioner, the coaches, but even some media members at large basically going, I mean, the gauntlet. The gauntlet of the SEC, there's just nothing like it. And everybody else in college football, Big Ten most principally, has a good chuckle with that. There's no doubt the SEC is a gauntlet, but it's not like 50% harder than every other league.
Well, you've heard the theory that what the SEC people say is, look, there's no denying that at the top of the food chain, top of the conference, the Big Ten conference is the best right now. Their comeback is depth and a belief that part of what hurts the SEC, in fact, didn't they just add a 9th conference game?
Yes, that's what kind of started this whole thing.
They eat their own. And that the Big Ten is nowhere near as deep, even if it's at the upper levels, as good or better than anybody.
That's the comeback. I don't know if I buy it. I bought that 10 years ago. I don't know if I buy it as much. It probably still is true, but again,
the gap is not as great as it was, for sure.
Exactly. That's kind of my point, because I do think, and ESPN just had some metric out today that kind of confirmed what we talked about yesterday when you asked me about the conference in general. It's Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and then there's a drop,
right,
in terms of who could win the Big Ten according to their metrics. But teams 4 through 14 or 15 are all kind of right there, So I think the Big Ten's depth has improved as well, where there's not as many just bad teams. Is it as good as the SEC every step of the way? You match up every team? I don't know. I think the gap has been narrowed a little bit because of the money part of it, but not to the extent that the SEC wants to believe.
651 guy, I'm a fan of an SEC team. We never talk about or even think about the Big Ten, but it's nice to know we live rent-free in the national champion's head coach's head. There's your comeback.
Okay. Rent-free.
Let's play.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were rent free in the postseason, weren't they?
Big Ten's won 11 playoff games in the last couple of years. It's pretty good, more than any other conference.
Didn't Indiana destroy Alabama
at the Rose Bowl? It was just a vicious beating.
That was a bloodletting.
It was vicious,
a gutting, as we like to say in the business. Okay, so there's the betting controversy. Betting, which we'll get to in a minute, involving Minnesota's own Paige Beckers, right?
Yes.
Let's get to the owner suspension story, or co-owner suspension.
Oh yeah, I got to get caught up on this one.
So here's the latest on it, and then we'll try to fill in the gaps for background purposes as well. This is via Yahoo Sports. Controversy surrounding the WNBA is showing no signs of slowing down, with the league handing Seattle Storm co-owner Celeste Keaton a fine and a 5-game arena ban following a heated verbal altercation with 2 teenage Sophie Cunningham fans. Despite the heavy punishment, some of the NBA world are calling for even harsher penalties for Keaton. Keaton had confronted 2 teenage WNBA fans who had brought signs into Climate Pledge Arena. That's what it's called?
Yes.
Climate Pledge Arena. Thanking Cunningham for her recent statements calling for trans athletes to be excluded from women's sports. The comments did not go down with the basketball community, and the WNBA acted swiftly to ban Keaton from attending 5 home games. And we'll get to whether that punishment is too soft or not, because that's a lot of what this reaction is. Now, I wish this is the wrong story to give you the original quote. Let me find the actual comment. So, co-owner gal sees a pair of Cunningham fans with the signs, and she apparently, among other things, calls them bleeping insane. This was during a game on Tuesday. Sophie then, via Twitter, I truly believe there's a safe space and love for everybody, biological girls, biological boys, trans women, trans men. Everyone is welcome at my table. You can disagree or still be kind. Bravo to those girls for standing up for what they believe. You'll be hearing from me soon. Yay for gifts. The truly embarrassing of the co-owner, unfortunately, shows the type of leader she is. I can't find the story that has I want to give put the quote in some measure of context, I should say. Now, remember, this game was Indiana's first since Sophie Cunningham's comments in that ESPN article that it's common sense to bar transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. But for some reason, Keaton, safe space for everybody. I don't understand why in any of these news stories, because I know the owner said more than just the money quote, I guess, that has gotten everybody all kind of worked up. I wish I could find that story, but I cannot. Maybe people are afraid to pass it along to everybody. What's interesting is my assumption might have been that actually there's going to be blowback to the suspension in some parties. Is saying if you're of the belief that trans athletes should be able to participate, and we know there's a lot of people pretty strident about that there would have actually been some bitterness. Is there anybody saying the players or the fans the kids had the right to the signs, but the owner has the right to her opinion? Now she probably shouldn't have said bleeping insane. That's probably considered over the line. But I'm not sure the way these stories are written that it's quite as cut and dried about endorsing the punishment or even saying that she should have been punished more harshly, this co-owner, than she was. You know what I'm saying? Given the politics that are going on right now, there are two sides in this that do not meet at all.
Yeah.
There's not generally been given much room for any kind of nuance in this discussion.
I wonder if it's just about the swearing and the fact that an owner is probably supposed, Tom Pohlad got a lot of heat when he called the one fan classless.
He didn't get suspended.
He didn't, but I'm thinking they're probably thinking, you're one of the faces of our franchise, the front porch of the franchise. You don't need to be swearing at fans. That would be my guess on why even if they say she has a right to her opinions, which is kind of the point of the whole thing, I would guess it's about the language chosen more than anything.
I'm just relieved, to be honest with you, that there is a controversy that doesn't, and Caitlin Clark can't be blamed for it. No one can. Nancy Armour, I don't think, can come up with a think piece. Although, again, I'd be careful what I say here, that it somehow connects her to this story too, and that if she handled her own responsibilities better and didn't complain so much about borderline foul calls, that perhaps this climate wouldn't have even existed in the first place.
Maybe as the leader of the team, she should tell Sophie Cunningham that she shouldn't say polarizing things. Maybe that's how we blame Caitlin for this. Said, we don't need your opinion, shut up and dribble. Caitlin Clark should be saying that as the leader and as the face of the WNBA. Maybe that's how we blame her.
Yeah, maybe you're right about that. Yeah. I can't find it. So the betting thing is what? There's a friendly wager during WNBA All-Star Weekend between Paige Beckers and who?
Angel Reese.
And Angel Reese.
Yes.
Because they were about to play each other after the break, right?
Correct.
And it was going to be $400 or something?
I believe it was $400.
And it was obviously a friendly wager.
Yep.
But the kicker was that somebody at WNBA Media Relations said, hey,
this is fun video.
Fun with this.
This is a fun video.
And even if the intention is fun, and that most people, I don't think this means there's a major betting scandal in the works, you'd like to think there'd be somebody in that office who'd say, let's not do this. We don't want to be a party to this. There's no one's going to have a sense of humor about this. We got all kinds of betting issues, the whole bit, right? And so they then they pulled it. I don't know how long it was at the WNBA site, but it was on there for a while, correct?
Yeah, at least a day or two,
yeah.
I would imagine. But it's not there anymore. Article 16, Section 5C of the collective bargaining agreement deals with gambling. Apparently, they weren't familiar with that.
Is that what it's called? Is that what it is exactly?
According to the story I'm reading about it, yeah.
Fever coach, getting back to the signs, Fever coach Stephanie White, neither our organization nor Sophie had any knowledge of this demonstration, no contact with the organizers. Oh, they're talking about apparently a rally that took place prior to Tuesday's game. A few dozen people gathered outside the arena to support Cunningham and promote a statewide ballot initiative that would bar transgender athletes from participating in girls' athletics at Washington schools. She said neither. We had no knowledge that this was coming. Our only goal as a team is to win basketball games and make Fever fans for life, and we are united in our mission. The Seattle coach, the Storm coach, Sonia Rahman, Seattle in this organization, we always want to be in an arena where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've already done a good job with that. So I know our organization was working closely with Climate Pledge, et cetera, and security. The interesting litmus test on now is Sophie Cunningham. Has she taken any slings and arrows from other players or other people, other WNBA observers in saying, yeah, she has the right to her position, but I'm going to hammer her for it? I don't agree with it. I think it's not inclusive. Have we had any of that yet?
I'm sure we have. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'm sure there are some.
Because to me, this is one of those litmus tests we've talked about where if you think it's silly to say to athletes, shut up and dribble, right? You think that that's way too convenient, then this is kind of where the rubber meets the road. In that I think the trend is athletes more than ever have every right to speak up. They should use their voice. They should use their pulpit. She's got a big one, right, from a social media standpoint.
Huge one, though.
But if that's your philosophy and your belief, you have to accept the possibility that you're going to hear some stuff that you don't agree with. But that shouldn't be enough for you to say, in this case, yeah, shut up and dribble, or how dare you. If you want athletes to express themselves, you have to live with the possibility that they're going to express themselves in a way that you might disagree with. That doesn't mean you have to agree with her. And I'm not even saying you can't criticize her, but that's always been the test to me. It's always easy to say, you go, girl, if you agree with the position taken. That's not tough to do. The challenge is, will you, even if you disagree with her, defend her right to go down the road that she did? Because it is true. The whole mantra, theme in the bubble, so to speak, WNBA bubble, is what? Inclusiveness.
Can be yourself. Except for
Caitlin Clark. It is ironic that the most inclusive league in sports, in the case of Caitlin, might make that exception from time to time, but I digress. But if that's the position, then you can make the argument this doesn't sound very inclusive in terms of the participation part. And I've stated my own position on this before, but that to me is the real litmus test on your willingness to defend or say, yeah, I want athletes to speak up. They should not be afraid to do it. I'm actually surprised there hasn't been more blowback anti-Sophie Cunningham, and it might be coming. It might be the old deal that it just takes one essay or one player to come forward to say, I don't like it, what she said at all, and she doesn't represent me or have anything to do with me. And then it gets very, very interesting from there. Do you think any...
We need to pause, too, by the way.
We are late. Do we think any suspension... Is there any suspension necessary on the friendly wager? I don't think there is.
I don't think there is, and it doesn't sound like there's going to be.
Yeah.
They will not discipline. According to an ESPN story, they are not going to face any punishment.
If we tell them to shut up and dribble, what do we tell you and JG? Shut up and talk?
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
For more information about contests on the state...
allegedly invoked religion as well to the kids with the signs at the Seattle game. I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done, and also God can save you. Now, the part of the story I guess I was not familiar with until just this last break is that apparently those words are not caught on video, but a different video shows fans heckling the girls with the signs, with one attempting to get them removed from the game, yelling, "Take the trash out." Huh. Well, that's not the WNBA message that I thought we were supposed to be hearing, was it? But to come back to that's going to be, but they're not being inclusive because they want to exclude. So therefore, I'm not going to be friendly to that. Take the trash out. Oh,
yeah, that's not very nice.
That's not. I don't think that's. So in the end, they probably did, in terms of suspension, I think what they kind of had to do. Dr. Dan's inbox at 5:30. Still time to email Guardsy, JG at KFAN.com. I want to get to some leftover texts from our 3 to 4 conversation in studio with Chris Mattel. Great interview. This is Tom from Savage. I thought he articulated very well the frustration people who may have some conservative views and instantly get everything Trump has done thrown in our faces, even when we agree that what we think Trump has done is wrong. Let me get a couple more in. And by the way, he's representing the St. Paul Police, St. Paul Police Chief in this the series of allegations that have been levied against the St. Paul Mayor Herr, now under investigation. More Star Tribune indicates there's more allegations that they have uncovered via some of their own reporting. And Mattel is the legal representative of the chief. This story ended up getting leaked, even though he had sent sort of the shot across the bow was a letter that Mattel sent on behalf of his client April 1, I believe. And allegedly there's been an investigation that's been going on that Mattel told us he thinks is likely to be wrapped up at the end of July originally. Now we're pretty close to the end of July, right?
Yeah, one more day.
And so does this extend it because now it's public? I don't know. He believes now Mattel is representing his client. He believes, and he confirms that the chief came forward with the complaints with wanting to send the letter on the basis of his effort to protect other employees in the police department who allegedly have been on the wrong side of harassment with the mayor, but that also some of the harassment involves things in which he is alleged to be the victim. So it's a combination of both. I did ask, now again, this is an attorney who's representing a client, but I did ask the question whether he believes that the mayor should resign. Mattel's answer was unequivocal yes. He also made it clear several times he tries very much to be equal opportunity when it comes to these sorts of allegations and had plenty to say about the Republican side of the aisle, but this is a particular story having to do with a particular set of allegations that seemingly had kind of come out of nowhere pretty much. This is Jeff in Monticello. This is a great conversation, stirring the pot on both sides of the issues. Keep up the great radio. There is no evidence that the death penalty has ever been a crime deterrent. We had, towards the end, gotten into the Hortman assassination, and the defendant in that case ultimately accepting a double life sentence rather than the feds continuing to pursue the idea of a death penalty in that particular case. Used to be all politics is local. Now it's the opposite, which is, I think, kind of true. I think we see that played out time after time. And my own working theory on that is it's because so many of the local problems seem so unsolvable and so unwieldy that you just jump to, well, let's just take a position on a national story or an international story. because there's no downside to doing that in that we think we can articulate our position better, and we know we're not going to be able to solve that issue, but we can perform on it, right? I think that's a lot of what, unfortunately, we are seeing. At one other one I thought I had starred. Let's see if I can find it before we prepare for a very, very controversial top 5 at 5. We've talked almost no Vikings today, by the way, but we will get to some of that too. There is a myth that some contingent of old school Republicans that don't support Trump. That's not true. Trump is supported by 95% of the party, and in Minnesota he lost by 4.24 points. So this idea that Trump is the problem, it is a myth. Dan, I've never heard, this is Cato Plummer guy, I've never heard of this guest before, but man, is he a breath of fresh air. Love his viewpoints. Please tell Chris to reconsider running for governor. He has my vote and many others I know already. That's Tony, but I tried to guilt him on that decision to pull out of the race. He claims he does not have any second thoughts about it because he's not convinced that it all really goes back to the Metro surge on ICE for him. That became something that he believes should be considered apolitical, that's an American issue, and in this case, a national issue does become local, and he couldn't get past it because of the policies, the over-the-top, dangerous, illegal policies that were basically just sort of became par for the course for, what was it, 6 weeks? How long did Metro Surge go?
Yeah, about that.
Month to 6 weeks in that range. Top 5, what do we have?
A walk-off at Target Field and DAZN at Target Center.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY traffic